Hello and welcome to Buzz Banter. I'm Das Hat.
Sam here.
And today we bring you another one of our nerdy little retro segments, Lego! Why is there non-Lego in here? Gomer, the hell have you been doing?
I have this one. I don't have this.
No, seriously, how did all this non-Lego get in here? I really should have looked at this before I started. Anyway, so, yeah, there's a random card in here. What have I been doing since I was...
Okay, back to topic.
Yeah, so, as all of you young nerds may know, these little bricks and these little blocks were the cornerstone that actually got many of you probably into the wider fan base of Legos. And of proper nerddom from there on outwards. I know when I was very young, I was given my first Lego set. It was a Canada Post truck, of all things. It was a licensed Canada Post truck.
Sweet.
But since then we've moved on. We went all the I followed Lego all the way up to the point where they had the little Mars things and the little Mars alien. And then I graduated from Lego and I moved on to Lego Technic, Bionicles specifically. Lego holds for a lot of nerds and a lot of people in general a very special place in our hearts because it's really the first sort of toy that we could be properly creative with. And it was just a grand time. It also led to a fantastic amount of arguments between my brother and myself. In large part because I would keep building stuff and he would keep breaking it. Yeah, that 4-year age gap really starts to show itself after a while. But that being said, even now I have some of my Bionicles and everything still made. Put them up, oppose them. And I just kind of sit back and watch, and I'm just like, yes, I remember your names, Kopaka, Gali, and Lewa. Why do I remember their names?
I don't know. Just to correct you a bit, this actually wasn't the first one that allowed you to create creatively. This is the first one that did it safely. Because back in the day, you used to get metal toys where you can build helicopters out of metal bits, and you have to use tools.
You're talking about Meccano.
Yeah.
Meccano was kind of like the grown-up Lego.
But it was way older than Lego.
It was older than Lego, yes.
And it was the first.
But that was something that was meant for children that were a little bit older. But
it was...
It came before it, yes, most definitely. But at the same time as that...
Just a slight correction.
No, that's okay. At the same time as that, you also had... this point...
Don't ask.
Alongside with having Meccano, Meccano was a little bit more limited in what you could do with it because you had your instruction sheets for a couple of things that you could make, and unless you were at a young age very gifted with sort of technical engineering and that sort of thing to actually make something more complicated without the requirement of the instructions, there wasn't really too much more you could do with it. You built what the instructions told you to, and unless you were especially gifted with that sort of stuff, you never really made too much else. Lego, however, the sky really was and still remains the limit.
You still needed that creative spark, though.
You still needed that creative spark, but it was a little bit more accessible for a younger generation.
That's why I said this was like the safer option.
Yeah. It definitely had loads and loads of fun with it. If any of you out there have ever actually tried to build something according to a proper color scheme, it's bloody impossible, especially if you get like a bucket like this, because then you're looking endlessly for the one piece that's supposed to be the same color as everything else.
You must buy lots of Legos.
Oh yeah. You had to have a pretty significant collection in order to make proper use of all of your various color options and all that. But that being said, once you got down to it, once you started to really enjoy and have fun with it, it kept giving for years. Well into my high school years, I was still tinkering around with Bionicle sets and making like better weapons, armor, and various things for those figurines, and it was these little blocks that got me started on it. And actually from here I graduated on to, actually I think Warhammer was the next step up, building models and everything for Warhammer.
Yeah, well there's definitely a creative aspect to Legos. It really helped you explore your imagination, and it's still one of the most universally accepted things to help create with Legos.
It most definitely is, and it remains to this day one of the best things that you could ever buy for your kids, because it keeps them occupied, they have a lot of fun with it.
Until they eat them.
Well, in which case they get to learn about their own digestive tract, but...
and to go to the hospital.
To learn more about their own digestive tract.
Mostly about pumping your own stomach.
Which is part of your digestive tract. That being said, it's an incredible amount of fun. It keeps on giving for years and years. And what's more, I'm fairly sure if I ever have kids, God help those poor, poor children. If I ever have children, I'll probably be passing these down on to them so that they can play with it. It provides a level of engagement with a child that I think is sorely lacking. You see a lot of kids, like pictures of young kids playing on a tablet or something and everything, and that doesn't nearly stimulate their imagination and their own internal creativity the way something like this does. And which is, I think, why it remains the best children's toy available. Mega Bloks doesn't count. Mega Bloks takes far too many shortcuts with its models.
Especially with some of these pieces that are mixed in here, and that's the reason why it doesn't connect.
Well, the funny thing about my uncles is that they don't recognize the difference between Lego and Mega Bloks. There is a difference, and as soon as they come to understand it, they'll once again be... they are not the same thing, and as soon as my uncles understand that, they'll be welcome in my house again.
The other thing is with Legos, they're all universal from the oldest sets to the newest sets, whereas Mega Bloks is not. Here's one Mega Blok, and here's another Mega Blok at the top here. They don't fit.
No, they don't. Mega Bloks was more about making money, whereas this was about...
I have a Mega Blok chess set where you make it out of knights and dragons.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. I wish I had the Lego version instead, but oh well.
In all honesty, credit where it's due, there's a lot that Mega Bloks does that Lego simply can't do, either because they don't have the license or their entire design philosophy is very different. But that being said...
there's a lot more customization with Lego. There's so many little pieces that you can use that could really help you define. I mean, every year when I go to Comic-Con at San Diego, and I'm going there this year as well, wait for the views on that, they always have at least 2 or 3 giant things made out of Legos. Last year they had a giant Iron Man, a Harry Potter. They had a giant Lego guy made out of actual Legos.
Which is pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome. I'll see if I can get pictures for the latest one.
I am, however, kind of disappointed. I found out how they make those giant ones, and they honestly just... It's just a computer program. They just input sort of the basic design that they want. The computer spits out exactly what pieces they'll need and where they go. And the design, that's about as far as it goes. It's not actually people toying around with it.
That's still fairly impressive, but they actually have to, when you actually see the process of making it, they actually have to build support structures out of Legos to support it before it can be fully built. And kudos to that. And honestly, to this day, when you find those newspaper articles and everything about some guy who built a scale model of the Titanic out of Legos, they're all properly color coordinated and everything's there, all the way down to the only half number of lifeboats. It's still very impressive. There's a reason why Lego has endured as much it is, and why it is as popular as it is.
It's been fantastic since day one.
Pretty much,
it really has. That being said, they have fallen on. The Lego company has fallen on hard times. Bionicle was a sort of last ditch that they threw out there.
It's kind of worked for them though, Bionicle.
Bionicle worked for a number of years. It reinvigorated the company.
It's their iPhone.
However, They've since finished the storylines and everything that happened with Bionicle, and they moved on to Hero Factory. And I've got to say, even with the TV show that they've got running with that series, it's not nearly as profound a following as it was with Bionicle.
I still love the games.
The Bionicle video games?
No, the Lego video games.
The Lego video games were a brilliant move on the company's part, introducing...
Still charming and witty.
It's still charming and witty, but it doesn't have the same level of charm. I'm sorry, this is a point that Sam and I disagree on. He enjoys the voice acting.
I think the voice acting's great.
The voice acting on its own is very good. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that the sort of charm that you had when everyone was silent and you just had the sort of... it had... I don't know. It had this thing that just kind of appealed to the Charlie Brown side of me.
Well, everyone has their opinions, but mine is right.
That's what you think. I'm your boss.
That's what you think.
Anyway, so Lego, a great time to be had by all, no matter what age you are. You see 40-year-olds making grand things in their basements out of this.
Flaming Sea made out of Legos at the Conan O'Brien Museum in San Diego was genius.
Definitely check it out. It was quite awesome.
There's a Flaming Sea museum alone was genius. But the Lego thing made it better.
And so that's it for our segment. I'm Das Hat.
I'm Sam.
And we're playing with toys.
Yes, we are. Look what I made.